Welcome in everybody to the 49erverse podcast. I'm your host, Matt Daniel. As always, joined by my co-host, John Gallagher. John, how are we doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. The 49ers finally figured out how to win a football game. Seems like it's been a while, but it's good. Feels good to go through a week knowing we won. Hopefully we got some momentum built up. Hopefully we can carry that over into next week against Arizona. So before we get into anything, make sure to follow us. Our ads are on the screen, as well as our Twitter at 49erverse. We are closing in on 500 followers. Let's see if we can get to that. See if we can hit that goal sooner than later. You can also follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/the 49ers podcast. So let's get into news and notes. A lot going on around the 49erverse. A lot of injuries, a lot of players coming back. Most importantly, George Kittle, Jeff Wilson, and Robbie Gould all have their practice window open. The 49ers waived Joey Sly, which means Robbie Gould will be back. Jeff Wilson and Kittle both practiced today. How big is this for the 49ers?
Oh, it's great. It's huge. Hopefully, the only issue that we've had so far is that even when Kittle was in, the target share wasn't even that great. So hopefully with what we saw in Chicago, where we saw Ayuk with 7 targets, they're getting more of their players involved. And so when Kittle hits the field, he can hit it running and we get him involved in the offense, toot sweet.
Yep. And Kittle's a difference maker, just everything he does in the field. The energy he brings off the field as well.
Yeah.
Everything Kittle does. Charlie Warner played great, I think, in his stead. He's a great pass blocker, and hopefully that's just going to open more up for George Kittle. And Jeff Wilson, we'll talk about him a little bit later in the show because we had a community question involving him. But a little bit off of Mitchell's shoulders. With how often we have, Mitchell's hurt right now with his ribs. So, anything that we can do to kind of, and Jeff Wilson was good last year, 4.8 per carry. Pretty solid. I'm happy to have Jeff Wilson back.
Yeah. But before we go any further, Trey Sermon is completely healthy, right?
Trey Sermon should be healthy.
That's rough. Like we're talking about dude, Jeff Wilson's going to come back. He's going to be sick. And we have our third rounder on the roster completely healthy.
8 weeks into the season, I'm getting to I don't really see him being a factor this year. Mitchell's playing so well. If Jeff Wilson comes back and he's, a shadow of what he was, I just don't see any reason for Sermon to play, and it kind of sucks. Especially in an offense where running backs are set, pretty much built to succeed, So I'm hoping that it's just a bad rookie year. We've seen players do it. Hopefully we'll see more from Sermon in the future. That's what it is.
It was just strange though. Was it a bad rookie year? So game 1, healthy scratch. Then the next time we see him, he gets so concussed, right? He gets his fucking noggin rattled.
Yeah.
And then has to leave the game, and he's injured after that. And then since then, where's Trey Sermon?
Yeah. He came back for one game, and I think he actually played pretty well. I think he almost had 100 rushing yards. And then he just I don't think he's touched the ball since.
But he's healthy.
And even that's been with injuries. Hasty was hurt for 3 games.
Right.
So it's not like the opportunity. The opportunity's there.
Yeah. So that one is a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, that one's a head scratcher. I think half of it is Mitchell's playing so well. It's just
he is, but we saw Hasty get run, we see a rotation.
Yeah. And we saw Sermon, the weird thing is in the preseason, Sermon got all the first team touches.
Yeah.
Mitchell didn't really play preseason, but Hasty didn't get a touch till the 3rd, 4th quarter. He was getting mixed with Wayne Gallman towards the end of the season. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's more going on with him than we know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, all signs pointed to, they're going to feed Trey. They took him in the 3rd round, and they wanted to see what they had, so they gave him a ton of looks in the preseason.
He looked pretty good, I thought.
To me. Yeah,
it's not like he came out and just was bad. I thought he played pretty solid. His first career touch was a fumble, but like you said, that was where he got concussed like crazy. So,
dude, his noggin was so rattled.
Yeah. I thought he's hurt his neck or something.
It could, yeah.
It was bad. That was an injury where if you oh shit, this is bigger than football right now. This dude
100%.
This dude might be hurt, but
yeah.
He didn't even miss a week. So, So Dre Greenlaw looking like next week. Aziz Al-Shair and D Ford should both be back.
Yeah.
You know, a big difference between last year. Last year we saw guys leave and they just never came back. Seems like we're starting to get guys back a little bit. Help out that defense, which had a pretty rough go of it last week. And speaking of defense, the 49ers traded for defensive lineman Charles Omenihu, I want to say.
I think it's Omenihu. Yeah.
He's played, he passed his physical as well. 49ers gave a 6th-round pick for him.
He's flashed some cool stuff.
Yeah, he's flashed some cool stuff. I think he had 16 quarterback pressures. I think he led the Houston in quarterback pressures last year. I think he had 4 sacks. So, I mean, you know, there's a lot to like. He's still young. Yeah. He's a big physical guy. A good rotational piece, you know, with Arden Key, D Ford.
Yeah. And we can literally not have enough of those.
No, you can't, especially with how often ours are hurt. So, you know, I mean, Samson Abukum played his best game last week. So that was nice to see. Took him a couple weeks, you know, but he hasn't really been like a pure pass rusher in his career yet. So maybe it's just taking him a little bit. But when he got his chance, I think he played pretty well. So,
yeah.
Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart still questionable. I mean, it's looking like we might see some Hufanga and some Wilson action in safety spots.
We should. So Hufanga, talking about him, he made some cool plays last week, but he also made some plays that you're like, hey, you're a rookie, aren't you?
You're a rookie, yeah. So he made some, he had his rookie moments.
Yeah.
But he also had some Hufanga moments.
Right. I still think that like he can have a super high ceiling. I think he's got a good head for the game. But that we definitely saw some moments where they're like, hey, let's iron that out.
Yeah. I think, and I mean, he was, because he got hurt. Did he start last game? Yes, he did, didn't he? Because Kwaski was hurt 2 weeks ago. So, so he did play. I mean, they took away the big play, which was big. But that's something that really hurt us against the Colts. We took away pass interference calls. I mean, mostly Josh Norman and Emmanuel Mosley, who are the ones who were inflicting those penalties. So we saw less of that. That was good. But I think that was a little bit more of just the game plan and the way the Bears play football. I don't think they were trying to throw it downfield too much.
Yeah, they ran a lot. Like Khalil Herbert got a ton of run on us.
Yeah, and so did Fields. I think he had like 70 rushing yards too. So
right.
And then Elijah Mitchell questionable with ribs. I talked about that a little bit. All right, so let's get into, we'll break down the game, talk about the upcoming game. The 49ers finally broke the 4-game losing streak, beat the Bears. I mean, we expected them to win the game. I don't think the Bears are that good of a football team, but we saw a lot of things that, we were concerned with seemed to be alleviated in the second half, especially. Our offense started looking good. Mitchell played really well. And finally, Brandon Ayuk,
getting
a good game, 7 targets.
Yeah.
And there's a play where Jimmy had to, he escaped from the pocket, and Ayuk, found a way to get open, an unscripted target too. You like to see that, all around our offense played well. Jimmy played probably, top 5 game that we've seen as a 49er. I'm just really hoping that this is a momentum game and we can build off it.
Yeah. I mean, so that the word on the street with, Grant Cohn saying or asking Jimmy, like, hey, this is simple shit. Can you run it? And Jimmy saying yes. While I do think that lit a fire under Jimmy's ass, if that is what happened, I also think that leash is short. So if at any moment Jimmy doesn't look like he can get it done in Arizona, I would not be surprised if we saw a switch.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about this on our spaces. If you don't know what he's referring to, Grant Cohn had a report where apparently right in the 2-minute warning, Grant Cohn or somebody told Grant Cohn, one of his sources told him, he told Jimmy, this is simple shit. Can you do it? Meanwhile, Trey Lance is warming up. So this might be the end of Jimmy G. And then Jimmy comes in, makes the best throw of the game. And, the rest is history.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I do take away from that, his leash is short. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. For me, that's relieving because I don't want to see Jimmy play like dog shit and then just be like, well, that's just what it is. I'm glad to know that maybe if Jimmy, plays bad, he might get pulled.
Yeah. It's just, what I think what I'm sort of annoyed with and what I think a lot of fans are annoyed with is that Jimmy's playing just good enough, just fucking good enough to say we aren't making the switch. Like it isn't like he's fucking lights out Jimmy right now, and some kind of switch would be absurd, right? That's not the situation. He's playing just fucking good enough to where there isn't this switch. And like I want to see Trey develop. So like I guess what I'll say about that, because I feel like a broken record, is that if Trey does sit on the bench, and that is for his development, when we start him, he better be the most fucking developed quarterback I've ever seen. Right? Like if sitting him is for his development, then the moment he starts, I better see such a polished fucking quarterback then.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if you put him in right now, I'm okay with mistakes. That's what you're going to learn from. But if you're saying that he's going to just be developed on the bench and then, and then deployed onto the NFL and everyone's going to look out, doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah. I think we're at the point where it's, sitting on the bench, for a couple weeks, because the NFL is new to you. Sure. But we're coming in, this is week 9 coming up. How much more is he going to learn on the bench? I just don't really see him learning anymore. It's going to come down to the reps that he needs, and I don't even think, that's really Kyle's reason anymore. And like you said, Jimmy's been playing just good enough. And his weapons have been playing like bad enough to where it's like, maybe it's not Jimmy. And then Trey Lance came in and it didn't like help anything. So it's like, like you said,
did against Seattle. We had a spark against Seattle when he came in. Like we had an offense when he came in. Like that was we weren't scoring points until he joined the game. But then that next week, that follow up just seemed like a bad game plan, and then just not great play.
Yeah, and the Cardinals were just a better team at that point. We were so beat up, and so I don't know. If Jimmy plays as well as he did last week, I'm fine with Jimmy continuing to play. But there's just no way that's going to continue.
It's interesting you say that, because I think if Jimmy plays exactly as well as he did last week, it won't be good enough, because the Cardinals are much better than the Bears.
I think if Jimmy plays at least like how he did in the second half, I think we're singing a different song, because I hope so. We're a playoff team at that point.
I hope so,
because our defense is gonna improve. Our defense isn't going to be that bad every week, but if our offense is that good, we had like 11 plays in a row where we didn't even see second down one time. That was
true. But the games that we're saying like, oh, Jimmy played well and it was good, like those, we're talking about the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, and a bit of the Eagles game.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If he plays the same way he played against the Bears, then I'm fine with Jimmy staying in. But like I said, that's not going to happen.
Well, it's just
no way.
It's just the games where he's looked good, it's been against subpar competition. Yeah. So like that isn't going to look good against, when we see the Cardinals again, when Rams are down the road, or, any other NFC team. Right. Like that, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to need, what we saw, but against, everybody, that's kind of what we expect Jimmy to be able to do. He played well. We need him to play well every week. Quarterbacks where you need the most consistency. An inconsistent quarterback play is not going to win you very many games. And that's what Jimmy hasn't been consistent. So he needs to be if he wants to keep his job, because if we've learned anything, it's the leash is coming. The leash is short.
It's short, yeah.
So Trey Lance is a lot more on his heels than we thought. Was more so what we hoped. I think that, Jimmy, one or two more bad games for Jimmy, I think it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we have a tough home stretch coming up. Back-to-back division rivals, Arizona, and then we play the Rams on Monday Night Football. These are huge games.
They are
huge.
They are huge.
The difference between 4-4, versus they're 4-6 versus 6-4. Yep. If we win these games, we'll be 6-4 with 2 wins against Arizona.
That'll be a huge deal. It'll be a huge deal. There's no question. But like, I also have to believe that Arizona is watching that tape of how we played them, and they're figuring out what they want to attack, because we were a defense that put them on notice. Like we were a defense that I think we were the first defense on the season to like hold that offense to something fucking manageable.
Yeah, 17 points.
Yeah, so they are going to look at that, and they're going to see how we did that, and they're going to attack us in new ways. And if we don't have an answer for that, then it's going to be, it's going to be kind of on the shoulders of Jimmy. Can you match the firepower that I know the Cardinals have?
Yeah, for sure. I don't see us holding Arizona 17 points
again.
I mean, I'm assuming
agree with that.
We're going to need to score 30 points probably to win this game.
I agree with that,
especially with the way. I mean, this is all assuming Kyler plays. Like we said, we assume he will.
I think he will.
With both of our safeties gone.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins also questionable, but I think he will also play.
Yeah.
With our safeties gone, now we're playing. I'm fine with Hufanga and Jimmy Ward because at least Jimmy, we have that veteran status back there. I mean, Tavon Wilson, I just don't. I don't want anything to do with that.
That's
especially with our corners, how bad they are.
I'm good with Hufanga too, and that's because he's a rookie, right? Like I am okay with rookie mistakes because I believe that there's a high ceiling. I believe that there's a path to that player becoming very, very good. And that's the process, right? Like you're gonna watch the process. When we have these other these journeymen coming in trying to fucking, put band-aids on, on busted holes in the ship. It's rough.
Yeah. And rookies are going to make mistakes. That's just the way it is. I mean, when I started a new job, I make mistakes too. But, the difference, if a rookie makes a mistake, hopefully they learn from it, and they can go back, watch that film. They can see what they did. And the next time it clicks. I mean, the good thing, the difference between, good players, mediocre players, and great players is those mistakes they learn. They know how to fix them.
How'd they respond? How'd they respond to the failure?
Right. And we have a good coaching staff. I believe in our coaching staff, and that's just, should be developing rookies. It doesn't seem like we are for some reason.
It seems like a tough love approach.
Yeah. I mean, Demo Lenore once again was inactive.
Yeah.
Kind of a head scratcher for me. I mean, Ambry Thomas was also inactive. Is Drake Kirkpatrick really better?
No.
I mean, just another head scratch. I mean, I can't imagine that he is.
I'd say probably not. Yeah. And I don't know. And it's just weird where they choose to do this tough love thing. Like, I don't see McGlinchey in any kind of doghouse, and that man is not. He's put some, some kind of poor play on the field. And I got to imagine, like, if Trent Williams was healthy, would we be saying Jalen Moore should be on the right side?
I don't know. I've seen the argument for it.
I
mean, McGlinchey's played better this year.
He's played better. And do you think he's played better than Jalen Moore?
I don't know. I mean,
they are different right now. They're asking to do different things.
It is a different thing. Not to mention, I mean, the Colts edge rushers were pretty poor at the time. I mean, Kwity Paye, I think, was the guy who's lined up against the most, who has been hurt a lot. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because McGlinchey gets graded out really well against the run. So, I mean, that's something that, a lot of like the tape that we see of McGlinchey getting blown out, it's like usually pass pass blocking he has trouble with, which is, obviously important, but I don't know. It's tough. I haven't seen enough of Jalen Moore. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing it a little bit. I mean, especially if we see McGlinchey like getting blown off by somebody and all of a sudden, okay, we're going to put Jalen Moore in for a drive just to see what he can do.
Right.
I mean, it seems like they don't really do that much with offensive line just because like it's really rhythm and like you don't want to be,
And I do. You shouldn't really fuck with that too. Again, there's a chemistry on the line.
Yeah, so there's chemistry on the line too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, our right side has been kind of meh, but I mean, our offensive line has been the best it's been in a while, in a couple of years at least.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to see like rookie progression somewhere else. I mean, and speaking of offensive line, Aaron Banks still hasn't suited up yet.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher.
I mean, he just seems like a disappointment. I mean, it's tough when you're, at least our record's at least at 500 right now. So we're not saying, okay, why are we just sitting all these rookies and not doing anything with them? At least now there's like a little bit of a shining hope.
I'm still saying, I'm saying that. Why are we sitting these rookies?
There are some. I'm saying that with some, but I'm not saying like, why not just play Aaron Banks?
If we're not going to say why are we sitting these rookies, then why did we draft them then? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're pretty much just admitting that they made the wrong choice. It's essentially what it is, because Aaron Banks, I mean, a second round right guard should be at least your backup.
Day one. I would say day one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying at the very least.
Yeah.
I mean, Colton Mikovits is higher on the depth chart, or not Colton Mikovits, Tom Compton. Like, Tom Compton is so bad. We've seen Tom Compton. He's so bad.
Right.
So that tells me
he's going to get better. Like, we've seen him.
Yeah, and this, I mean, that's basically Kyle Shanahan saying, okay, Aaron Banks sucks. I was wrong. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all it is. So So let's get into the community questions of the week. So I asked a couple of them this time. First question, with the return of Jeff Wilson Jr., how should the carries be divided up between Wilson and Mitchell? There's a question on the board right there.
You say lean on Mitchell.
49er Elite says Mitchell should get all of the carries. They shouldn't split them at all. Unfortunately, with the boom of Mitchell, when Raheem returns, I see our 4-backs being Raheem, Mitchell, Sermon, and either Hasty or Jeff on the practice squad.
I'll be surprised if Mostert's back.
Yeah, I honestly had a feeling he wasn't going to be back this year. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this inevitable Raheem return. I don't think that's happening.
I mean, we know it's not happening this year. So, I mean, next year we might see Raheem. I don't know. I mean, he's 32.
I'll be so surprised.
Yeah, I'll be surprised as well. It just doesn't make any sense. The dude literally cannot stay. It feels like we've given him so many chances. You know, obviously it's out of his control, but like,
it's an unfortunate situation for sure.
Right. And this was the time. This was his chance. This was his last chance, and he didn't even make it through one game. So
I don't.
It is. I mean, it sucks. I love Raheem, but as far as I don't know, I think Jeff Wilson is better than some people. A lot of people on Twitter were saying, I don't know. I think Jeff Wilson's a lot better than what people remember. I mean, he was taking over games last year. I mean, remember the Patriots game?
He's a great closer. He was a great closer. Like,
he wears defense out.
We use him late in the games if we have a lead and we want to run clock. And our, that kind of zone option scheme or zone run outside schemes are nice with him. Like he was able to utilize the Shanahan play calling and pick up pretty big chunkers and sometimes rip a good touchdown. He is very good. I just think that the way that they're running right now, he really shouldn't see the field until like second half or just to spell Mitchell.
Yeah, I think it's still Mitchell's backfield. Yeah, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be. I mean, Mitchell's been playing great. There's no reason to not have Mitchell on the field. I mean, I'm sure he'll get a couple, second down carries. If Mitchell, needs a breather here and there. I do think it's probably going to be 75-25, and then I expect Hasty to get the passing downs. That's probably mine. Vin Dizzy 87. He says 100% to Mitchell.
I'm more with that. More like 90-10.
I just feel like with how our running backs always are. Yeah. I mean, like we got to give a little bit of a committee. Like, I mean, Mitchell's already been hurt twice, and like is he the future of our backfield? I don't want to put that much on him. I don't know. Plus healthy feet, healthy legs. He's just going to be more efficient. I mean, 75-25 is about where I'm sitting at. 100% to Mitchell's just too much. So are the 49ers playoff? I said time. The 49ers playoff team. What needs to happen for the 49ers to get there? Zalafer 79. We could be if we get some better cornerbacks and Kyle puts his ego aside and realizes he made bad decisions. I mean, we've harped on this a lot with Kyle. It seems like last week we saw a little bit of a different Kyle, a little bit of a different play caller. He seemed to have found an answer to whatever the issue was. I mean, and like we said, Ayuk had 7 targets. So I mean, that's a step in the right direction.
Most of the season.
Yeah. So I would say that was probably Kyle Shanahan's best play calling game this season. Anthony Nagatani. I'm sorry if I apologize or pronounce that incorrectly. He said they could be. The coaches need to get the players better at every position. Can't really argue with that.
I would say that probably goes true for a lot of teams and a lot of coaches.
Play better.
Right. And the coaches need to coach them better.
Yeah. Berto P 5'10", third down passing. I mean, our third down was atrocious all the way up until the first half.
Yeah,
it was the opposite with the Bears.
We were better against the Bears. Our overall third down conversions have been bad. They've been terrible. We're not. We don't stay on the field for very long.
In the second half, we just weren't seeing third down, so it worked out. Like I don't know what it is on third downs. It was just so bad.
Is he saying specifically we should pass on third down though?
No, I think he's saying we need to be better on third down passing.
Okay,
I'm assuming. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Berto, but that's
we've had funny play calls like 3rd and 2, and we got cute with like use check on like the outside run, like shit like that. That we've done stuff that I've like a 3rd and 2. I would say, run it right at him. But we've done stupid runs.
Yeah, and I liked how in the second half, like just a quick pitch to Mitchell. You know, he'd pitch right, and then we were on the right pylon, and we'd pitch left, and then we'd pitch right. You know, and they could not stop it. And Kyle didn't get cute. He didn't all of a sudden, okay, now we're going to play action bootleg off it. Nope, they stop it. And then we see teams do that to us. They find something that works, like passing the ball deep, and we pass interference, hammer it. And we're just like, what are we doing?
Right.
It seemed like we were kind of able to do that a little bit against the Bears. I mean, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be screaming, they're going to toss a pitch to the right side.
Yeah.
And we were getting 10 yards of carry off it. So props to Mitchell and our offensive line. You got anything else to add about next week? Any?
No. I think Kyler's going to play. Aaron Rodgers is not vaccinated, so that helps our NFC picture a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, Jordan Love season, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't think the Packers are going to be very good for as long as that is happening.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see.
I don't know.
Other than that, Kittle coming back. Do you think did he log a full practice?
I don't know if he was full. I think he was limited. Actually,
okay,
but someone did say let me see if I can find the tweet. I think it was Jimmy. He was saying that he looks better than he did when.
He looks fast. I did read that fast, too. Okay.
Yeah. So I
mean,
if
he's good to go, great. If he's not, I don't want to rush him because he's I hate to use injury prone because it's football. Like, it is a fucking violent sport. Injuries just happen. But I just want to make sure he's 100%, maybe even 110 if we can.
Yeah. And I mean, Kittle's one of those guys too that's going to say he's good to go. So I mean, hopefully Kyle, has been coaching Kittle long enough to know
the training staff.
Yeah, and that they should be, know what George Kittle's going to want to play. So you got to understand who you're dealing with. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about, OBJ. Looks like he's not going to be playing for Cleveland. They haven't released him yet, but it looks like that's what's
coming. Like it's going to happen. Just straight up release that man.
Do you think this is something the 49ers think about, or is this just something you don't want to touch?
I would think about it. Yeah. I would for sure think about it. He's talented.
He's talented. Do you see the video his dad posted?
I heard about it. I haven't watched the video.
It's man. But, I don't know. I go back and forth because he's so good.
He's been nothing but a team player at Cleveland. I haven't heard a peep about him until right now when his agent, I think, was just trying to stir up a bunch of noise because his agent wants Odell in a situation where they throw the ball. And like the Bears or the Browns don't do that. You know what I'm saying? They have the probably the most effective 1-2 punch when it was rolling with Chubb and Hunt. And a top 2 offensive line, and I think they're the best. And they run the ball and they play defense. And Odell Beckham's just not seeing targets in that offense. I understood why he wanted out, but I don't think he was like a diva, which is kind of like what everybody's quick to call him. I saw none of that behavior. I didn't see any diva-like behavior or any kind of me above the team behavior. I thought he went out and played. He played hurt a lot of the time too. Yeah. I'm okay with OBJ.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. Part of it's like, do we want to spend all this money on a wide receiver when we don't even use our wide receivers? So it's like,
what is the price tag?
I don't know. It's a lot.
If you get waived, what's the price tag?
I don't know. Probably a lot still. I'd have to imagine. I
have to imagine OBJ is also. I think OBJ is going to be all right with a little bit of a pay cut if he just gets the fucking ball thrown.
Yeah, for like we'll throw you the ball. But then do you think he's going to want to go to another team that's already run heavy?
Well, see, the Niners we're in a transition period. Like we're run heavy right now because we don't have the firepower at QB yet.
Yeah, but don't you think we'll be even more run heavy because now we just have a running quarterback? Like I don't think we're going to pass.
Trey Lance is more than that. He's more.
I think he is too.
You be careful there.
I don't think we're gonna. I don't think our passing percentage is gonna go up when Trey Lance is in. If anything, I would think it'd go down.
Oh no, I think that Trey Lance is as much of a running quarterback as like Josh Allen.
Okay, I mean, I think he's a little bit more, but even then, I just think we would. I mean, Kyle's system is to run the ball first. Even when we had Matt Ryan.
Oh, they got pass plays.
They did, and I mean, our passing is gonna be efficient. I just don't think we were. I don't think we pass the ball more times than we do now.
We'll see, because we have the passing plays that we would run. We just see different offenses run them more because they have better players at the wide receiver and quarterback position, specifically the Green Bay Packers. Like the LaFleur offense is a lot of concepts that the Niners run, and they pass the ball a shit ton.
They do. Yeah, I mean, you could be right. It'll be interesting to see if we will pass the ball more. I mean, it isn't a knock on how I think Trey Lance is as a passer. I just think it's more of Kyle Shanahan's the way he chooses to run his offense. So we'll see. Anyways, let's get into the pick'em. Last week, John did beat me by 1, 8-5. I went 7-6. We got a pretty tight race going. I mean, talk about there were a lot of interesting plays last week. I mean, Cooper Rush beating Minnesota, and then Matt White. Was it Mike White? I mean,
Mike White. Well, and then like Calvin Ridley retires pre-game.
Yeah,
like there was some things we didn't see coming.
Yeah, it was a weird week.
Definitely.
Yeah, weird week. Speaking of the Jets at Indy, do you think that was a turning point for the Jets, or that was just a fluke?
It might be a cultural turning point, locker room turning point where like people want to play there. Like, fuck it. Like, people wrote us off, but we can come together. We can beat people.
Yeah. Okay. We can win football games.
Yeah. Like that might be definitely a game that sparked that kind of feeling in a few players. I don't know if everybody's on board. It'd be kind of hard to be. Mm-hmm. But I think, I think that was definitely a step in the right direction in terms of like building a culture.
Mm-hmm. Who do you have in this one? Jets at Indy?
Indy all day.
Okay. Make sure.
I think Jonathan Taylor is just going to continue to fucking just run it in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Carson Wentz, man, you watched that game last week?
I did.
Man, just the biggest bonehead plays, man.
Dude, it sucks too because he plays a bit of good football.
Yeah, he does.
I watched a bit of good football out of him, and then I saw that in the end zone running around. Let me just huck it to the D line.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, he did that same thing against the Niners too. That was a little more of a fumble when he just tossed it to Aziz, but
more of a fumble in incredibly awful conditions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're playing in those kinds of conditions, like weird shit just happens. And like, I'm okay to chalk that up to weird shit happens when their conditions are like that. I'm pretty sure he was in a dome last week, right? Like that was inexcusable. You can't do that.
Yeah, that was awful. And he usually gets about one a game of those. Cleveland, Cincy. I'm going Cincy in this one.
Yeah, Cincy needs a get right game, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So does Cleveland.
Yeah, they did lose. I think they lost two. They lost two last week.
With Chubb in, they lost to
the Steelers.
Steelers, yes, Steelers beat him. But Cincy's at home, they're looking for the get right. I like Cincy there too.
Yeah. Denver at Dallas. I don't know. I think Dak's going to be back. I mean, they won.
Even if he wasn't, Dallas's defense is going to shut Denver down.
Yeah. Houston at Miami. I'm going to go. Man, this one's not quite a lock, but I'll still go Miami.
I think Miami. I think Tua fucking says like, yeah, you can keep your Deshaun Watson.
Atlanta at New Orleans. Speaking of Michael Thomas out for the season.
Yeah, but also probably Taysom Hill, New Orleans, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Unless they decide to go Trevor Siemian, which I'd be surprised, but
I'd be so surprised. Let's go New Orleans at home. I think they've. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Siemian won, right? They fucking like they can call a game. Peyton knows what he's doing.
Yeah, they've got a good coaches win games, man.
Yeah,
Sean Payton's prime example.
Yeah,
Raiders at Giants. I'm going
like Giants here. I kind of like Giants here with the upset.
Yeah, I'm also going Giants just because it's in New York. I mean, that Ruggs thing. I mean, that's got to put a damper on the
whole locker room's
spirits.
probably reeling over that for sure. I also think that Danny Dimes is going to be. I think he's just going to be throwing it all over him. I don't think Vegas corners can cover for that long.
Yeah, and the Giants wide receivers are still pretty beat up, but I think Kadarius Toney is back.
Kadarius Toney, dude.
Yeah, is he full go for this week? Do you know?
I think he started limited, but he's looking fine.
Okay. Yeah, him and John Ross, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Kadarius Toney's look pretty good, man.
Yeah.
New England at Carolina. I'm going to go New England.
Yeah, me too. They're playing really good defense, and they look like they're running the ball effectively.
Beat
Mac Jones is making some
week.
really nice throws too.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones is making some nice throws. People said Mac Jones has a noodle arm. I want to know what noodle that is. That's a strong noodle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those foam noodles. It's not a food noodle. Yeah,
pound noodle.
Yeah. Buffalo at Jacksonville. What you got here?
You got to go Buffalo here, man. Jacksonville hasn't done anything right.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, I'm hoping once Urban Meyer's gone, which is pretty much inevitable.
He a one and done.
They'll put somebody in the right spot with. Yeah.
Hopefully, one and done. Yeah,
I think so.
Just get him the fuck out of there.
You don't want off-field controversies with your head coach, man.
How easy that is to avoid. Yeah,
it's one thing if like your wide receiver or like your cornerbacks are out, like partying on the weekends. It's like I'm okay with my cornerbacks being a little diva, a little bit like Jalen Ramsey, but like my head coach, come on, man.
Because most of them are single men, right? Like just living their lives.
Yeah, right.
You're married, man. Like
yeah,
you're
I know, right? Yeah,
bad fucking look.
Yeah, very bad. Minnesota at Baltimore. I'm going to go Baltimore.
Minnesota needs a get-right game. Super bad, but I don't think they do it on the road against Baltimore.
Man, I like Baltimore. Primetime Kirk Cousins. I'm just going to – every time he plays primetime, I'm just going to throw like 50 on the other team. Like that dude cannot win in primetime.
Yeah.
Save his life. Chargers at Philly. It's kind of interesting.
It is kind of interesting. I think they both kind of throw it all over each other.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, though, it looks like Chargers have just the better team.
Yeah.
Go Chargers here.
This one's interesting. It's going to be Jordan Love versus. This one's not that easy because Kansas City is fucking terrible for some reason.
If it wasn't Jordan Love, I would have probably said Green Bay, but it's Kansas City. Jordan Love's going to win that.
Arizona.
Maybe Jordan Love. I don't mean just to be this big shit talker.
That's not what I'm played well in preseason.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm just a big Jordan Love hater, but I just don't know if Jordan Love is as ready as Aaron Rodgers.
No. Yeah, no matter who you are, if you're replacing a Hall of Famer, like your team's
Aaron Rodgers is good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Arizona at San Francisco. Who you got?
Have we not won a home game in like 13 games? Dude, I remember reading something like that.
Yeah, we have not won. We have not won at home in a hot minute.
I hate that.
Part of it was we didn't play at home at the end of the season last year.
Yeah,
and we were bad last year. But this year we have not.
Middle of the day game.
Yeah, 1:25 Pacific Standard.
This is when the sun just bakes down on them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that helps us. Maybe we're just so used to it. Go San Francisco. I'm going to pick San Francisco. Hopefully, Arizona is just like, no, we like our dome, and they fucking hate the elements.
I picked the Niners every single week this year, so I'm 4-4 with them. I'm probably the worst record picking with them than I do anybody. But Tennessee at Rams. I'm going to go Rams. Yeah,
Howdy, man. No more Henry.
Yeah, no more Henry. Who do you think is going to get the carries there? You think Adrian Peterson's the new guy?
Him and McNichols, I think, are going to split. It would make sense to try and get their receivers more involved in the game overall.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Robert Woods shares. I'm hoping that's what comes from that. Yeah. It's Chicago at Pitt.
Pittsburgh.
This one's interesting, but the Bears have just been playing so bad. The Niners beat them. How good can they be, right?
Well, Pittsburgh's good.
Yeah, Pittsburgh it seems like they've kind of right the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the show today. We will be doing a post-games Twitter Spaces immediately, or I guess Monday at 5 o'clock, and then we do our normal show every Wednesday. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere so you can keep up with everything. We will see you guys next time.
Sounds like football, baby.
I'm using my video won't play.
Sounds like football, baby. Looking, throwing in the end zone.
Feels great, baby.